The often imitated but never duplicated altitude adjustment. My name is Mario Vitanzi. That handsome bastard is Patrick Chiotti, and we are the hosts of Altitude Adjustment. You're welcome.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to our week one preview show. Pat, I don't know if you've heard, but the Denver Broncos play American football on Sunday. How are we feeling?
Oh, I mean, it's back. Like, we're finally here.
We're here. We made it.
You know, it's like a fever dream almost. Like, preseason was a blur, and now we get into the real thing. It's gonna be fucking great. I'm excited, dude. It's back.
So I wanted to play a little game, you know, an ode to the name that we use for this show, because a lot of people are like, you know, where does this come from? Altitude, obviously, that's pretty obvious. We are 5,280 feet above sea level. We are high altitude. And adjustment, you know, if you don't know what I do, then go ahead and look it up, and then maybe that will make sense. And it's a little bit of an ode to John Cena, who follows me on Twitter, no big deal, who became famous for the attitude adjustment and telling people that he can't see him, but you can see us. Anyway, that was stupid transition. I want to know from you, Patrick. Stick and move, baby.
At least you can admit it. You can admit it live.
I'm gonna call myself out on it live. We're just gonna keep going. Thought I had something, I didn't. My brain kind of short-circuited, but I do have something for this.
Yeah.
So the game that we're gonna play, you know, we like to play games. We like to be a little interactive, and we'll have people get involved in the comment section. So leading into week one, I'm going to bring up a couple different facets. We're going to discuss it, and you're going to tell me if the Broncos have an advantage in this particular matchup, or if they're going to need to make adjustments. And the reason that I wanted to bring up like the adjustment part of it, last year, the second half adjustments were not great, especially on the offensive side of the ball. One of, if not the worst offenses with their first drive of the second half. And they started the second half with the ball a lot last year. Yeah. And it seemed like they went 3 and out the majority of the time. So the first area that we're going to discuss, Pat, do they have the advantage, or are they going to make an adjustment when it comes to Bo Nix versus the Seattle defense?
This is tough, right? And I don't know if anybody was on Twitter today, but there was quite a bit of discourse concerning what Sean Payton was talking about in terms of like facing this defense and, going into week one. Like, Seahawks fans somehow think that Sean Payton doesn't know how to look back at fucking years of film and pick up on certain things. So that was hilarious to see. But when it comes to Bo Nix versus the Seattle defense, I'm not going to say that there is the advantage, right? Because we just don't know. This defense could look completely different from, Mike McDonald's time in Baltimore or Mike McDonald's time in Michigan. Like, it could look completely different. Odds are it's not, which isn't a good thing. Like, that's not a good thing for Bo Nix. Mike McDonald has done really well with his defenses these last couple of years. Sean Payton alluded to it. But this is one where there's going to have to be some adjustments. They're going to have to figure out things that work, figure out how to attack this defense. This defense is going to give them a lot of different looks. Loaded boxes and then dropping out, loaded boxes and then bringing blitzes from other areas. It's going to be a really interesting defensive game plan, especially going up against a rookie quarterback. Now, that isn't to say that Bo Nix hasn't seen a lot of football over these last few years. 61 starts. We can't say it enough. That's a lot of mental and on-field reps. So once he sees something, and we're not in the film room, but like, come on, they've been watching film from Baltimore, from Michigan, like the
Everywhere.
preseason film.
Sean Payton is in his bag with the film.
What's happening. This is a dude that game plans very well. So while I'm not going to say that they have the advantage, I am going to say that they are going to have to make some adjustments. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I just hope that the adjustments are the right ones.
So I want to branch off a little bit with that because I've seen some discourse on Twitter about how Bo Nix is going to handle the 12s.
Oh God, give me a break.
Belongs to Texas A&M.
They pay for it. They pay. I remind my Seahawk friends that they pay for it.
They had to pay a college to be able to use that. Yeah. So just like a little fun fact right there.
What a bomb.
You and I were there in 2022. Yeah. We saw firsthand and heard firsthand how unbelievably loud that stadium was, even though there was a pretty large contingent of orange, especially on our side of the field. And so I just want to bring this up and then get your thoughts on it. Bo Nix at the link. There seems to be a lot of Seahawks fans who think that Bo's going to be overwhelmed or think that he's not going to be able to handle the noise. So why don't you educate these people as to what Bo Nix went through as an 18-year-old freshman at Auburn?
First of all, the link, they're not playing in Philly, sir. It's
Lumen Field. Yeah. Who cares? It's a forgettable stadium.
Okay, relax.
It's green.
It wasn't a bad stadium. I was just levitating for 90% of the game. It's fine.
You were on the ethereal plane, my brother.
The Judy touchdown. Just
Pat had to be making a lot of adjustments in that game.
Yeah, a lot of adjustments. Bo's quote about pressure and handling pressure, couldn't have said it any better myself. This is a dude that has faced enormous pressure.
Pressure is a privilege.
Yeah, pressure is a privilege. Put that on a t-shirt. Like, that's a fantastic quote. This is a dude that has faced tremendous pressure since his high school days. When your first game in college football, starting as a true freshman in the SEC, is against an Oregon Ducks team that's like considered to be one of the best teams in the country at the time, with a quarterback who was poised to be the first quarterback off the board, during that season, that's a lot of pressure going into that game. And you're down in the fourth quarter and you lead a game-winning drive. Like, that's ridiculous. That's huge. He won an Iron Bowl as a freshman. That's massive. That's enormous. And then his last 2 years here at Oregon, having to play in Washington, having to face those, and the Husky crowd is equally as loud and absurd as the Seahawks fans are. Like, it's just as bad. We know for a fact that it's 1-to-1, right? He has faced tremendous pressure in these situations. He's faced loud crowd noises. He's done all of this before. It's really just going to be about how he can operate in and out of the huddle, and if he can just tune it all out. And that's what it's going to have to be, is he's just going to have to tune it all out. We can kind of hear from what he's saying that this is the case. Like, he's going to be able to tune everything out. So I'm pretty excited. I think he's going to handle it fine. I'm not worried about it at all. If this was Sam Darnold that we're talking, like, if this was someone who started 1 to 2 seasons of college football and never had to play in one of those big time rivalry games or in a big time situation, like, I'd be fucking worried if that was the case. I would be terrified. But this is a dude.
And they're done that, man.
Yeah, this is a dude who has been in big situations, who has played his ass off in those situations. And, not every time is victorious. That's okay. But, like, he's played some really, really great games. The Washington games last year, he balled. He was balling out. So I'm excited. I think he's going to handle it well. Advantage there.
Next facet that I wanted to talk about, and this is probably going to be the storyline heading into Sunday, is DK Metcalf versus the newly minted, incredibly rich Patrick Surtain II. The richest contract in the history of the NFL for a defensive back, and it could not be more well-deserved. Now, we saw a little bit of this in 2021. Now, granted, 2022, second season of Patrick Surtain. I believe he was a Pro Bowler that year. And I think DK was like sort of efficient. Like he had a decent amount of catches, but they didn't go for a lot of yards. Maybe not efficient, but I think he had something like, 8 catches for 70 yards or something. And so the catches that DK had on PS2 in their first matchup, short to intermediate, never once beat him deep. And so now we're seeing all pro Patrick Surtain. I think it's safe to say that since that time, Patrick Surtain has gotten progressively better, like marketably better than he already was. Yeah. DK, you could kind of make the case, but I think he had leveled off a little bit. He has his highs and he has his lows. But the trajectory that PS2 has been on these last couple of years, much steeper of an increase than DK. So PS2 versus DK, the battle of the unicorns. Do we have the advantage? Or is this going to be a little bit of an adjustment for Pat Surtain, who, by the way, will be following DK? He said that's the plan. He told me, he's a very close personal friend of mine, told me that the plan is that he will be following DK around the field.
Yeah. So just for reference, DK was targeted 6 times in that game, 6 catches, 35 yards, 4 yards, 4 yak yards, 1 first down. I'm not worried.
I just remember that PFF, some goofy intern living in his mom's basement from PFF gave Pat like a 50 rating that game just because because like the targets and the receptions were the same number, even though we had 30-something yards.
Yeah, DK Metcalf's offensive score was 52.8. If that makes you feel any better, Pat's was 54.1.
Makes me feel better about knowing PFF is a complete joke, but go on.
Look, there's some things that PFF does well. There's a lot of things that they don't. One of the things is the grading system. It's absolutely horrendous, but that's besides the point. I think that this is obviously the matchup to watch. Yes, Pat is going to be following around DK. The size matchup is there. Pat is just a technically sound cornerback who does extreme. Like, this is a completely different defense too from what they were playing back in 2022. So this is going to be completely different. This is going to be mano-a-mano, like 1-to-1. It's going to be awesome to watch. Will DK Metcalf be as involved in the offensive scheme? I'm sure they'll try to, but I doubt that they're going to want to throw to that side of the field. To me, DK has not, like, the last 2 seasons, he has not been himself. Like, he's supposed to be this uber dominant. It's the Patrick Chiodo show now. Book it. He has not been this uber dominant receiver that he is supposed to be, even against lower tier competition. So him going up against Pat, who has really gotten better as the years. Hey, there he is. He's back. Now it's the 2 Italians.
I wanted the focus to be on you.
Yeah.
The meatheads are back.
Yeah, the meatheads are back, baby. Mario
That's
and
why the ITs. No, meatheads aren't good at IT, man. That's some nerd shit.
Yeah, I did see Victory Lap just said Moss will be tested. Absolutely. Like, that is going to be the worry for me. But Pat versus DK, I think that this is the advantage. Absolutely. Like, Pat has just continued to get better and better, even with the change in the defensive scheme. I'm really excited. His second straight season in a Vance Joseph defensive scheme. DK Metcalf, not the same dude. He's made a lot of boneheaded decisions, but something to note, he is going to be playing more of this Rome Odunze role, right? Ryan Grubbs is the offensive coordinator in Seattle now. He came over from Alabama by way of Washington. So he is going to be playing that Rome Odunze role. The other 2 receivers is where the concern comes in. If you look at the other guys who were in that offense, Jalen McMillan, McMillan and Polk.
Yeah,
those 2 dudes, like Tyler Lockett, JSN, those are going to be the pieces that we want to watch for. But DK Metcalf is not he's not the same style of receiver as Rome Odunze is. Yeah. Rome is very fluid. He's got really good releases. He's a track guy. Like, DK has the speed.
DK uses his superior athleticism.
Yeah, he's got
bully corners.
He's got the size. He's got the speed, but he's not as fluid as an athlete. So I think Pat's going to win this battle. That's my prediction. Advantage PS2.
Now, one of the comments that we got from Cody here, Lock and JSP, a lot of speed for them to cover. J-Mac will lock it up. Lockett is not 100% going into this game. I think from what I heard, he's expected to play, but he is on the injury report. Mm-hmm. I assume that they'll have JSN working out of the slot, but maybe they kind of mix it up a little bit. I'm sure that they'll try and get DK away from PS2 however they can. But you're right. Between JSN and Lockett, because it'll likely be one of those guys, Riley Moss will be tested. And you hope that Lockett isn't 100% because he's an absolute technician when it comes to route running and someone that could definitely expose someone like Riley Moss early and often, especially because you know that they're not going to be going after DK a whole hell of a lot, especially to take deep shots. So, yeah, that's another I don't want to spend too much time on that because we want to wrap this up before the football season officially starts. But that is going to be a matchup to watch, whether it's JSN or Lockett going up against Riley Moss. Yeah, I feel good about Jaquan McMillan.
If Lockett can't go, it's probably going to be Chenault, right? So Smith and Jig, and
who could they'll mix and match. Different from Lockett.
Yeah, they'll mix and match. Smith and Jigba can play outside. He can play the Z, but Laviska can also probably play the Z. That's a lot more speed. Lockett is a really good route runner. He's got really good releases. But he's
the savvy vet at this point.
Yeah, he's the savvy vet. But Chenault is a little more speed. So that's a little worrisome. But I like the J-Mac Chenault potential matchup. I like the J-Mac JSN potential matchup. But if Lockett can't go, that is something to look for. Maybe Jake Bobo plays out of the slot a little bit more. Who knows?
Yeah. Victory Lab said Seattle O-line is sus. Benito, Browning, Cooper should eat. And that was actually the next matchup that I wanted to discuss. We've talked about it a lot on this show on Altitude Adjustment, Pat, that last year's interior defensive line got bullied so bad and was pushed back so often that it was impossible for the edges to actually set an edge. So you never really got to see the ceiling of a Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito and a Baron Browning. The thing that we have absolutely hounded on repeatedly throughout camp is how much better, how much bigger, how much more physical this interior defensive line is. And that is what's going to free up Benito, Browning, Cooper. Maybe Ellis is going to get some reps. I'm sure he will. There should be more sustained pressure on Geno throughout this game. And so, is there an advantage of the Broncos defensive line and edge rushers versus the Seattle offensive line, or will there be an adjustment period?
Well, I also want to throw in there the run game, right? This Seahawks running back room is really good. Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, and then add in Kenny McIntosh. But Mario, I'm going to need you to turn me up for a second. I'm going to need you to turn me up.
Okay. Well, I can't control your mic, but you can go and just talk louder if you want.
Like, turn me up, hype me up, okay? Because I'm about to go in, okay?
Patrick, I want you to tell these people what's on your mind. Go ham on these motherfuckers, Pat.
I was scrolling through TikTok, came across a fantasy football page, and this individual's star start of the week was Kenneth Walker, okay? That pissed me off. That pissed me the fuck off. You know why?
Why did it piss you off, Pat?
Because last year's Broncos team was shitty against the run. Okay? They were ass.
Not good.
They were ass. Okay? They were also not 100%. They were going through some things. They had their ups and downs. Miami game was a downturn. That's fine. This is a different fucking year. Okay? What we saw in the preseason with these additions, Malcolm Roach, DJ Jones is fine. Like, DJ Jones is back. Malcolm Roach is in there. Zach Allen's going to have a big fucking year. And you're like, I pray Seattle comes out and tries to run the fucking ball against this defense. I fucking pray they do. Because Barron's back at 100%. Jonathan Cooper is probably one of our best edge defenders. Like a true edge. He can set the edge very well. This is a different fucking team. And if you're going to tell me that Kenneth Walker is your star start in fantasy, guess what? Go ahead and fucking start him. Go ahead, get your 3 point, get your 4 points, and enjoy that.
Go ahead,
enjoy that.
Yeah.
Put him in the fucking RB1. I double dog dare you, because this is going to be a different fucking run defense this year, and I am so excited. They are juiced, they're pumped. I can't fucking wait to see it. Yeah, and John Franklin.
Right, Pat. This is a completely. I mean, first of all, it's a very different team from last year. First of all, this is a completely different team from the team that went in there in 2021. Not only I want to say there's maybe 14 members on the current Denver Broncos roster who were on the roster in 2022, the last time that they were in Seattle. Not only that, and here's the next matchup that we're going to get into, Patrick. Last time Denver went there, they had a brand new rookie head coach, and we all know how that turned out, going up against the grizzled veteran, the veteran coach that's been there, done that, that's won a Super Bowl, should have won 2, but he wanted to throw the ball with Russell Wilson at the goal line. That's kind of what you get. Anyway, the roles are reversed right now. The Denver Broncos are going into Seattle week 1 with the experienced head coach, and Seattle has the rookie head coach in McDonald. And so how do you see that panning out? This is a monumental shift.
Yeah.
Not only are the rosters considerably different, but the fact that the coaching experience on either side is now inverse of what it was last time, that might be the biggest advantage that the Broncos have going up against the Seahawks. So I ask you, advantage of Sean Payton over McDonald, or will there be a little bit of adjustments just because maybe you don't fully know what to expect from McDonald?
Yeah. Well, and shout out to Robbie, LTB crew member. He brought up a great point. Sean Payton has coached in the same division and seen a lot of the same things that, from Mike McDonald's coaching tree, where he came from. A lot of the things that he has instilled in his defenses that he ran in Baltimore and in Michigan, right? So he understands. He knows how to game plan for these situations. There was also I saw some tweet that was like Sean Payton is like 31-13 against rookie head coaches.
It's something crazy.
It's something ridiculous. Now, Mike McDonald is a very good coach. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good defensive coach. This is a different ballgame, man. You've got a team that is absolutely hungry. These dogs are barking to get some respect. Okay. And this is a team that a couple years ago, you said it. They went into that building. More hyped up because they thought, we got Russell Wilson now. And it didn't happen. The game got mismanaged. This is different. You got a different guy in there. You have an actual leader, an actual coach who is going to prepare
we won't be
these
attempting
guys.
a 66-yard field goal with a minute left?
Fuck no. And we're not gonna burn 40 seconds of precious clock that in the most crucial time of the game. No, and Bo Nix won't let that happen either. I was on a show with Lofa Tatupu, not a big flex at all. I was on a show with Lofa yesterday, and we were talking about this, and I predicted that Bo Nix is probably going to have a 2-minute drill to end this game, and it's not going to go the same way that it did last time, right? Because last time it was mismanaged by Russ. It was mismanaged by Hackett. It was mismanaged by the whole fucking team. That's not going to happen this time. Sean Payton got his LASIK surgery. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. We are going this is going to be a different team. And I'll tell you right now, when I was talking to them, they got nervous. Because they thought this was going to be a cakewalk. This ain't going to be a cakewalk. And that's what
Sean got nervous because of your sexual charisma that you just exude through your pores. But also the game probably.
Yes. It's going to be a different feel. And I think Ryan Grubbs has never coached he has not called an offense in an NFL game. He's coming from college. Peyton talked about that too. You've got McDonald, who has never coached a full NFL game as a head coach. It's not just calling the defense or calling the offense. It's all 3 phases of the game. You have to be able to do that. Will he? I don't know. But Sean Payton has been doing this for a long time. And I know he's going to be prepared going into this game. Advantage, Sean Payton.
Last one that we're going to touch on, and it's just going to be very plain and simple. Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks. The game itself. Do the Broncos have the advantage, or will there be adjustments that ultimately lead to a win or a loss?
Look, there's going to be, obviously, adjustments to be made across the board, right? We've got an offense that we don't really know a ton about. You don't show your whole card. If Seahawks fans are looking at this preseason from Sean Payton and the Broncos and saying, "Oh, we know what's good," you have no fucking idea what's coming. Because if that's Sean Payton holding his cards close, he was running some really great stuff. I tell you what, he was running some really great concepts. A lot of mesh. They're probably going to think, oh, we're going to get a ton of mesh in this game. We're probably going to see mesh once or twice. Let's be real. Like that's going to be the reality of it. He is going to lay it all out on the table and say, here's mine. Show me yours. Right?
Throw it down right like that.
So
right on the table. Long kicking it.
This defense, secondary, obviously there's some things that are concerning, right? Cornerback depth, safety depth, but I love this front seven. I absolutely love it. I think that this is going to be a really aggressive defense, and they're going to have to bring the heat against the offense, against Geno Smith. One thing that I was thinking about today was the amount of time that Michael Penix spent in the pocket in the Ryan Grubbs offense. Excuse me. He had to get the ball out really quick. He had to, because once the pocket collapsed, he didn't have a lot of room to operate. Is Geno going to be the same way? He might hold on to the ball a tick longer. That's more than enough time, right? That's more than enough time. Barron's back healthy. Coop's there. Benito is balling out. Jonah Ellis, if he gets in rotation, they're fucked. Like plain and simple. Yet I'll take Jonah Ellis against George Fant all day, every day. I'll take Baron Brown
damn near anybody against George Fant, Patrick.
And I'll say this right now: if the Seahawks defense comes out cocky, right? That front seven scares the shit out of me. That front seven is scary. Don't get me wrong. Leonard, Jonathan Hankins, Jerron Reed, Byron Murphy against Luke Wattenberg, we might see a dead body. I'm just being real. We might see a dead body. Okay. But if they come out cocky and you give Bo Nix an inch, well, he's going to give you 9. I can guarantee you. And he's going to stick it right where you don't want to. And they're going to fuck around and find out.
Okay? Oh my.
So they can come into this game as positive as they want. But I can tell you right now, Bo Nix and Sean Payton are going to come into this game calm, cool, collected, and they're going to try their best to win a football game. And that's where I'm going to give the advantage. Is you've got an offensive mastermind in Sean Payton and an experienced quarterback in Bo Nix. Forget the 32nd ranking by the 33rd team. Okay. Forget all
publication is a joke anyway. It's fine.
Forget all of the external. This is what I'm saying. Tune it all out. Play your game. And that's what Bo's going to do. Pressure is a privilege, baby. Advantage Broncos. And I'm saying that because this is a Broncos show. And I completely believe it. All right. We got fucking dogs all across the offensive line, all across the defensive line. Quinn Miners and Byron Murphy is going to be a clash of the Titans, and I can't fucking wait. There's going to be some pancakes stacked up by the end of this game, and there's going to be some ACLs hanging off my neck by the end of this season. I promise you that.
Let me take you back a few months. I'm going to tell you a quick little story about me, myself, and I personally. Every year, year in and year out, I psych myself up to believe that the Broncos are going to be a good enough team to make the playoffs ever since they won the Super Bowl. Every single offseason, it's the same rigmarole. It's the same charade. But a few months ago, I was feeling a little down. I was feeling a little bit low because it seemed like the team didn't really have a great direction. Justin Simmons no longer on the team.
Yeah.
And obviously that hurt me deeply. I'm still not over it.
Still does.
And around that time was the first time, and as long as I could remember, that I had a very difficult time convincing myself that this team was going to be good. Usually I'm looking through life in orange and blue colored glasses. I'm Delulu, okay? And I will readily admit that. I'm going into this season thinking, I don't know how they win more than 3 or 4 games. 3 of the first 4 games on the road to start, 2 of them on the East Coast. We have to play the first game in Seattle, got Pittsburgh week 2, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to now. And I have completely and utterly bought in to what Sean Payton is doing. Have I agreed with everything that he's done? No. And I think anybody that is fully on board with everything he's done is asinine, and that's okay. You don't have to be so delusional that you think that your head coach and your GM or whoever aren't going to make mistakes or aren't going to make decisions that you don't like or that you don't agree with, and that's okay. But the fact of the matter is they knocked it out of the park with Bo Nix. My knee-jerk reaction wasn't great. I was all aboard the J.J. McCarthy train, but it's because I didn't know what Sean Payton knew. I didn't see what Sean Payton saw, and that's why he's a head coach, and I'm here talking about sports, okay? I have completely and utterly bought into Bo Nix, not because he does anything that necessarily jumps out at you and he's this elite athlete and he's making absurd throws. No, it's because of what's between the ears. And if there's one thing that Denver Bronco fans are craving, are yearning for, it's a quarterback who can operate between the ears. There's been plenty of guys that have come in through here who have had the physical ability, who have had off the charts immeasurables, right, or intangibles. Chris Harris even came on this very show and talked about what a great athlete Paxton Lynch was. It doesn't matter if you are vapid between the ears. See Drew Lock.
Oh.
Bo Nix is not that guy.
Oh.
There was not a tedious process that anybody went into as a rookie quarterback this year than Bo Nix did. And he came out with flying colors. Sean Payton and George Payton knew, like, yeah, on their big board, they had Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels higher than him technically, but they knew it didn't matter. Those guys were gone. So while the rest of the world had a second-round grade on Bo Nix because that's what they were told to believe, our head coach did his homework. He did his due diligence. He spent more time with all those rookie quarterbacks than anybody else. Most of all, these so-called experts that are so harsh on Bo Nix and thought he was a second, third-round pick, blah, blah, blah. But I'm completely bought in. Everything that you have heard about Sean Payton and what he has said about Bo Nix is exactly what you want to hear your head coach say about your rookie quarterback. And it's not like Sean Payton is easy to please, okay? It's not like Sean Payton is just dulling out compliments. I don't think he ever said one genuinely nice thing about Russ the entire year last year. He has been all about Bo Nix, and because I trust the process, even though I don't fully agree with everything he's done, I fully trust the process. And while a lot of Seahawks fans seem to think that this is going to be an easy week 1 matchup for them because there's a rookie quarterback, what y'all need to remember is Sean Payton is the head coach, and the rookie quarterback is future offensive rookie of the year, Bo Nix. I believe in that big Nix energy, baby. Ooh. So let's wrap it up, Patrick. Let me cool myself off here. My body temperature is getting a little hot. Okay. Give me a prediction. We're just gonna go nice, straightforward. What is your prediction for Sunday? And then I'll take it a step further. Since this is preseason, and we'll maybe circle back to this midway through and see how we're doing, give me a final score for Sunday.
I'm going to use the same one that I said with Lofa and them. I think there's going to be more points scored in this game than we think. And I know it's like it's the first game of the season. There's not going to be a ton of points, blah blah blah. But like, I don't know, man. Broncos are moving the ball pretty well. And if Bo can move the ball 80% of what they did in the preseason, they're going to be scoring some points. So it's going to be a little high scoring for some of you out there. I'm going to get called crazy. I'm going to get called wacko, whatever. But the last time I did a low score prediction, it was a little high. So I was like, fuck. All right. So 31-27 Broncos. Bo leads a 2-minute drill touchdown. That's how it ends right there.
Be harder than a diamond in an ice storm if that happened, Pat. Let me tell you what, it would be 6 to midnight, and I would have to call a doctor after 4 hours because I would have a serious medical condition.
Put that one on a shirt. Hey, whoa, hang on. Broncos defense giving up 27 points. I meant to say, like, Riley Moss is going to get cooked for at least 2. I'm just going to say it. I won't be surprised. But
I'm gonna go.
43-8. Now let's live in the past. No. If that's the score,
if the Broncos somehow, some way win this game 43-8, I might just give a handful of my followers $100. I'll just Venmo them $100.
All right, that's great.
I'm gonna go a little bit in the opposite direction. The Broncos are gonna win, but I do think it's gonna be a little bit more low scoring.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of faith in this Seattle offense. I don't have a lot of faith in this Seattle team without Pete Carroll as their head coach. Like you said, what are we gonna see from McDonald? We really don't know.
Yeah.
It's an unknown. But the difference is on the Broncos sideline, there is a very, very, very well-known. That is the biggest difference, and that is the biggest advantage for the Denver Broncos in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 23-20. Big Nuts Lutz hits a game-winning field goal as time expires, and the Broncos leave, not the Link or whatever their stupid stadium is called.
The Loom. Yeah. Lumen Field.
The Loom?
The Lumen Field. That's what it is. Come on, say it right.
Loom.
The Link is in Philly, my boy. Like,
I know it's the green. My brain was thinking of green, and usually when I'm thinking about green, it's just money. But everything else just gets really convoluted. Shit, the Link, Loom,
like
don't matter. Broncos by 3.
I'm gonna shout out a different nickname for Will Lutz this year. Instead of Big Nuts Lutz, it's gonna be Bustin' Guts Lutz.
Oh my God, Lord, Patrick.
Right. Oh my God.
I don't dislike it. It's just it kind of caught me off guard. I don't know what to say.
What are you gonna do?
All right, give me a season prediction for this team.
Well, so Busting Guts Lutz, yeah. So
Lutz.
I got asked a question, when I was on that show yesterday, like, what does success look like for the Denver Broncos this year? And I think that's a great question. I think that success is tough schedule this year, really tough schedule. Like, doesn't matter how you look at it, it's still going to be rough.
Yep.
A lot of hard games that they're going to have to play. I think that success for this team is 10 wins. Okay. So you go 10-7, right? Two win difference from last season. Bo Nix throws for, however, like 30 touchdowns. Let's say 30 touchdowns, I guess. But just top
almost
10,
2 a game.
So 10 wins, top 10 offense, top 15 defense. Or top 6, let's say top 16 defense. Get this defense better than it was last year. I saw a lot of comments on some Instagram post. It was like ESPN's way too early mock draft, and they had the Broncos picking first overall. I was like, okay, first overall, let's ride.
Oh, they're trading up for the first overall pick. That's pretty dope.
So, and people were saying the Broncos had a top 10 defense. Like, no, they didn't. They were like 30th or 31st. It was one of those two. They were not good. Top 16 defense, top 10 offense. Let's just say he puts up the same numbers, Russell. If he does that, this is not a 10-win team. I'll say that. This is not a 10-win team. if he puts up the same numbers but less sacks. That means that we're kicking a lot of field goals, and that ain't good. I promise you that. So that's where I'm at.
Or maybe there's just more rushing touchdowns to go
God,
around.
wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that
be something to have a running back
amazing?
score a rushing touchdown before midseason?
He's not going to take nearly as many sacks. Like that's a given. He is not going to take as many sacks as possible. Like it's not even going to be close. So I feel like, is he going to throw for 30 touchdowns? No, he's not going to throw for 30 touchdowns. He'll throw for like 20 to 25, right? I think the interceptions won't be as much. If he's thrown over the middle, I mean, 10 picks.
It's going to be like having a quarterback throw over the middle of the field. I don't think we've seen that since COVID.
Dude, maybe even before. I don't know. It'll be nice. It'll be really nice. He's already done it.
The first dig that he completes, I might run around my street naked.
Frankie and Robbie are going to have full fall over in the chairs, like the first backside dig that he hits. It's going to be glorious. Can't wait.
I'm kind of with you. And I wanted to say that this is an 8-9 win team. I'd like to say that they finish over 500. And I think that's success, because this is widely considered a rebuilding year. I mean, even some of the players have said it. Like Javonte Williams said something like, yeah, we're rebuilding, but that doesn't mean that we want to lose games. It's like, all right, well, that's an interesting take. And if you are in full rebuild, then historically, yeah, you're probably not going to win that many games. But I think the factor of having a Sean Payton as your head coach, who has done this for so long in so many different scenarios, gives you a little bit of a leg up for a team that is rebuilding. And if Peter Schrager can come out and boldly say that the Denver Broncos are going to be a wild card team, then why can't I? I told you all that I see my life through orange and blue colored glasses, and I'm not going to stop now. I will be delusional until I have a reason to no longer be delusional. And last year, it was in Miami. My delusions were fully gone. And then they came back towards the end of the season. And then after the Houston game, they disappeared again. But I'm going to stick and move. So where I'm at right now, Patrick, is that this is a 10-win, double-digit win Broncos team. And they are going to be one of the wild cards in the playoffs. And I honest to God think that is the ultimate ceiling. You're not in a place where you can challenge for the division unless something crazy happens. Unless Taylor Swift crashes her private jet into the Chiefs facility.
Whoa!
I'm not saying I hope it happens. I'm just saying that's probably something that would have to happen. Either that. Or the refs stop jacking off Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. And honestly, the whole private jet thing seems a lot more likely, okay? As long as the trend continues of what it has, the Broncos aren't there yet. They are not able to compete with the Chiefs on that level week in and week out. They should beat the Chiefs at least once, okay? I think if they were able to beat them last year, they should be able to take a win. You're going to have to. If you want a chance at going to the playoffs, you have to have a winning record against your division. You sure as shit can't lose to the Raiders, because that team is absolute dog water this year. And their best player, Devontae Adams, doesn't want to be there anymore. Okay. I mean, you absolutely cannot lose to the Raiders. Maybe you split with the Chargers. You got to at least split with the Chiefs. Yeah. And that's 4 right there. And you go. I don't think they split. Where are the 6 more wins going to come from? I don't think they split.
I don't think they split this year. I think that this is a sweep year. I think that this is a total sweep year against
Kansas City.
Okay. Against the Chargers.
Well, they usually sweep the Chargers.
Mario.
Even when they were bad, they swept the Chargers.
Mario.
They swept them last year.
They're not beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Are you?
Well, that's why I was confused. Like, I don't think so either. But I thought you were. I thought you were. Look, you were riding the. I thought you were riding high right now.
Here's why I think that they will sweep the Chargers. Okay. And I know that there's people in the comments saying, no, they won't. The Chargers roster is fucking dog shit. All right.
It's not good.
The Chargers roster is so bad. It's
like
really
they should
bad.
be in a rebuilding mode, but they have older dudes on their team.
Pat Surtain is going to get so bored during that game. Oh, I'm having to go up against Quentin Johnston. The guy, like, Buddy can't catch the ball to save his life. Lad McConkey, that's what, like, they're going to run the ball 60 times in a game. This run defense, like, what are we doing here? Their defense is not, like, that defense is not good. They're not going to be good for, like, a couple more years. I thought they were going to have a good offseason. I predicted they were going to have a good offseason. They didn't do anything to really get me raging. All right. The Raiders, this organization's a mess. Like, Josh Jacobs is gone. The Bronco killer is gone. What are they going to do in the run game? Like, come on.
Dylan Laub.
I don't see it. Now, like, look, yes, the Harbaugh factor is going to be real. If the offense gets going and Herbert can get going, sure. Yeah, absolutely. They'll be competitive. But I don't think that this is a team that is going to beat the Denver Broncos 2 times. The Chiefs,
the way that you slice it,
yeah,
the Broncos have to go 4-2 in the division.
They have, like, you have to.
They can't go worse than 4-2 if they legitimately want a chance to be a playoff team. Because you go 4-2 in the division, Pat, you got to find probably 6 more wins scattered throughout your schedule, which should be doable if you hope to make the playoffs. And maybe 10 wins doesn't even get it done. Maybe you need 11 wins as a wild card team. The AFC is absolutely stacked. But we'll circle back to this maybe about a third of the way through the season. Maybe after the first month of the season, we'll kind of check in with where we're at. So officially, are you saying 10 wins?
Yeah, like 10 wins is where I want. 10 wins is where I want to see it, right? You play you start in Seattle.
As of right now, I'm there with you.
You start in Seattle. Pittsburgh, that defense is scary, but, like, that offense is not going to be good at all. That offense is going to struggle all year long.
They're going to have to run Najee Harris 30 times just to protect Russ.
Fucking, like, every single drive is going to be at least, like, if it's not 3 and out, he's going to get 10 touches a drive. Tampa Bay, that's going to be a rough game. That's good.
Going
defense.
to Florida this early in the season is always brutal for this team.
Yeah, the Jets, in New York, God.
But we don't really know what to expect. We don't really know what to expect. It's like, are we going to see Aaron Rodgers? I have a really hard time believing that we're going to see the Aaron Rodgers of old after his injury at his age.
Pause. I'm going to say something to these Seahawks fans that are in our comments right now, right?
Yeah, are y'all lost?
First of all, thank you.
Y'all must be lost because you chose to live in Seattle.
No.
Let me tell you what the sun is like, bud.
Chill.
It's nice.
Chill.
It is.
First of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, like, of course, you're going to say that the Seahawks are going to win this game. Yet you are a fan. That is what you do, right? We are trying to look at this from it, like, an outside angle. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. No one is saying otherwise. It's going to be a tough game. All right? Who knows what the defense is going to look like? But, like, all we're saying is don't underestimate it. And that's exactly what y'all are doing. Don't underestimate it. Like, you're going into convulsions, brother. Please, we're talking ball. All right. If you want to talk ball, talk some ball. Like, defense, you're the front, good. You got a couple guys in the secondary. That's awesome. This is going to be a really good defense. It's going to be really fun to watch. I'm sure y'all are Huskies fans, so you understand what this offense is going to look like. Do you not think that Sean Payton is looking back at this whole last couple of years with Penix and saying, yeah, this, like, okay, we understand. We know what to do here. Like, my goodness, Broncos fans have been we're literally not underestimating the Hawks. That's what you're not getting, is we're not underestimating it. This is going to be a good defense. They're going to throw.
Don't reference the Broncos fan accounts on Twitter. That's not real life.
Go watch the rest of the episode. My goodness, like, it's really not. Like, Please. It's going to be a close game, I hope. But y'all, do y'all really understand what this offense is going to look like? I mean, goodness gracious.
Anything else before we wrap this up, Patrick? Any last word, wisdom?
I'm super excited. Football's back. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait for this weekend. Yeah, Frankie's absolutely right. It's gonna be a defensive battle, and I'm hella excited. It's gonna be a great time. Go Broncos.
I have been Mario Vitanzi. That has been Patrick Chiotti, and this has been the one and only
Shout out to Cake Eater.
He eating cake.
He eating cake.
Freaking bum. Just shovel that cake right in your face hole, bud. See you next week. Bye.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money.